This is News Bits reaching you from our ITI studios in Abuja, Nigeria. I am Oluchi Madu. Thanks for logging on. In the news today, gunmen kidnap NUJ members, Jonathan slashes Senate budget, and NFF holds general meeting to discuss Nigeria's football future. All this when we come back. The Nigerian Football Federation held a meeting tagged the Extraordinary General Assembly at the weekend in Abuja. The events, which had in attendance stakeholders in the football industry, focused on the way forward for Nigerian football. Our correspondent Ogodadi Uge completes the story.
The Nigerian football arena has been heated up in recent times following the pronouncement of the football-loving president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, to suspend the national team for 2 years due to their shameful outing at South Africa 2010. Though this pronouncement was rescinded, it led to various issues, particularly concerning the manner in which football has been administered within the country. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has therefore taken the bull by the horn and called for a meeting to tackle these issues and more. The Extraordinary General Assembly of the Nigerian Football Federation is currently going on right here at the Nikon Luxury, Abuja. This meeting was necessitated by the recent happenings in the Nigerian football scene. And we have stakeholders in the Nigerian political arena and representatives from the NFF, both national and from the state levels, in attendance at this meeting. We do hope that at the end of the meeting, there will be noticeable changes in the way in which the affairs of the NFF and the Nigerian football in general is being piloted.
It is not administrators that play the game, but we must sit down and look at the factors that have led the constant poor result and tackle them decisively. So, on that note, our people have the confidence in our national team, rise their heads in high abroad. Administrators, all of us, as if we are not responsible. But I can tell you and I can assure the nation that football administrators are responsible people. To win, everybody is happy. In fact, if you win, nobody remembers you. It is the players and the coach that have done the country proud. But when you lose, nobody talks about the player and the coach again. They will talk about you. And that is the passion. That is how it is all over the world.
Could age and insincerity be part of the problems of the Super Eagles?
The major problem of that team is their own. That's the major thing. So all of them, you see, people don't talk about football. They did injuries are over 30, 35, 38.
Besides the game, some issues also bordered on fraud.
I don't want to disclose the details of the financial crimes or other crimes, but the crux of the matter is that as a journalist, I have taken my time to investigate them, and I found out that a lot of the members of the current board are not qualified to have been there in the first instance. And by virtue of the fact that they were elected and their tenure is up, I have to now come up with my reports to now say that they are not qualified to go back there again. And while, for instance, I published the letter dismissing Chief Taiwo Kujabi from the Royal State government, and I raised the other issues of corruption against some other members of the board. It does not actually border on matters of financial corruption.
Everybody that is concerned here must ensure that all these corruption charges that are being leveled against football, you go and clear it. Let us clear it. Let us people know that we are not thieves in football.
Will the restructuring of the NFF directly affect the performance of the Nigerian team?
There will be a basic change in the football in Nigeria by grace of God. Because the way you see, the way the minister and the Director General of NUJ has talked, doing this is what set Nigeria in football in picture. And we have, only the Congress, only the FA chairman, we have proved that we have go and brought very good players that will concern in the Super Eagles team, inshallah.
The current board denied an extension of tenure and insisted on an election which will come up on the 21st day of July. 3 of our members have been impeached and others will have to clear themselves before campaigning.
The right things. I don't want to do things which Nigerians will say we are good with what we're doing. That's why we asked the Congress, and the Congress have decided that the election date, which was earlier fixed, should be, should stay so that it will be done. And we don't want to stay in the office if you are not elected.
With the NFF going back to the drawing board and all concerned parties tightening their belts, there is hope for the Nigerian football.
The Lagos State Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Mr. Wahab Oba, and some other executives of the union were on Sunday abducted by gunmen suspected to be kidnappers. The gunmen laid ambush for journalists returning from the NUJ's 3-day National Executive Council meeting in Uyo. Oba and the others, namely the Lagos State Council's Assistant Secretary, Mr. Silva Okereke, Zonal Secretary, Mr. Adolfo Sukunkwo, and an unnamed driver of the bus, were kidnapped around 10 a.m. on Uyo Aba Road. According to the council's auditor, Ms. Jemi Ekukumbo, the kidnappers had passed a demand for a 250 million naira ransom for their release to the NUJ National President, Mr. Mohammed Garba. It was gathered that Okereke and Okonkwo are senior journalists with Champion newspaper and Voice of Nigeria, respectively. The Secretary of the Akwa Ibom State NUJ chapter, Mr. Joe Effiong, said that members of the delegations from Delta and Ogun states escaped the attack. Addressing journalists on the developments in Abuja on Sunday, Garba called on the federal government to urgently tackle the deteriorating security situation in the country, noting that the abduction of the journalists was an indication of the security crisis in the country. President Goodluck Jonathan, in line with recent amendments and downsizing, has slashed the budget of the Senate by 1.1 billion naira in line with the downward review of the allocations to some of its activities. The details of the review is contained in the earlier proposal sent to the National Assembly seeking for the reduction of the 2010 budget. The total allocation to the Senate in the 2010 Act, as passed by the National Assembly, is 35.6 billion naira. The Senate had proposed to spend 270 million naira for its retreat, but the amount was reviewed downwards to 229.5 million naira as a result of the amendment. And that's all we can take on this edition of Newsbit on ITI. I am Oluchi Madu. Thanks for logging on.